All right, man. So we're gonna start with the Russia and Ukraine, current conflict. I'm gonna start off by just giving some backstory on how they got to this point. So after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Ukraine gained its independence in 1991, and that's how Ukraine and Russia first, ended up splitting apart. And what happened was, nuclear weapons were left in Ukraine in 1991, and then they ended up giving them to Russia in 1995 in exchange as a promise to just pretty much like leave us alone, like don't mess with us, don't come and try to take us back. We're gonna give you these nuclear weapons. It was five of them,
Okay.
nuclear
Okay.
nukes.
It was five
Yeah,
nukes?
it was five. Yeah,
Just five?
I believe so. I could be wrong, but I believe five.
They
I
can do
believe
that.
five.
Those 5 can do a lot of damage though.
That's a fact. In 2000, Russia signed a deal with the EU, that's the European Union, pretty much reaffirming that agreement that they're going to leave Ukraine alone, and it was all good. And then in 2014, they had a change in the seating. So the
Wait,
president
change the
was,
seating where? In Ukraine?
yeah, like at the top, like the president.
Okay.
So the president was then Viktor Yankovich.
Oh, he was pro-Russian, wasn't he?
He was pro-Russia. He was pro-Russia, and he refused to renew that deal with the EU. And he also, so instead of renewing the current deal, he ended up signing a new one, which is pro-Russia, that was gonna benefit the Russian economy, and and the Ukraine wouldn't stand for it, so they started doing protests, and it eventually led to Viktor Yakovich fleeing Russia, and that's where the military stepped in, and
Okay.
it was
Is that where did they have the occupation in Crimea as well? Is that when that happened?
um
2015?
I believe so. I believe so. I
Okay.
believe so. I
Okay.
believe so. And so pretty much, that's the build up, to where it's at now. So pretty much it's just a struggle for power, territory and money. Russia wants to take over and Ukraine not having it.
Some recent developments basically have been that, I would say maybe like last November, maybe October-ish, like towards the end of 2021, Russia had a buildup of about 100,000 troops on the
Yeah.
Ukraine border. And, that was definitely, raising a red flag, and everyone was trying to determine like what exactly is going on. They're doing military exercises in the
Hmm.
border. So it's causing a lot of attention and worry in the West about whether or not, there's going to be a possible Russian invasion. And I think just this past week, the British Royal Air Force, they airlifted a bunch of anti tank missiles and weapon systems to Ukraine to assist them in this if anything blows off. But I mean, so I guess the question of the hour is do you think Russia will invade?
Um, I believe they will.
Okay.
I believe they will.
The timeline, exactly when you think they might?
I don't have a timeline on what I think they will, but I just think it's going to happen just because of the build up of where they started from and where they at now. I think it's to a point where they're at a crossroads to where it's like either they're gonna take action now and they're gonna try to invade and take it over, or it's just not gonna happen. And
I Mhm.
yeah, and Putin, man, he just seems like he's just gonna do what he want.
He's
You know,
determined to get it back.
very determined, very
All
determined.
right.
And something I learned in my research was I didn't even realize that we were allies with the Ukraine.
Okay. Right. Well, we're allies, but the thing is that they were promised to join the NATO alliance, and NATO hasn't kept that promise yet. So there's a lot of contention there. And Putin, Russia's president, he's very wary of the NATO alliance spreading eastward. He thinks that is an encroachment on Russia's sovereignty, and he's not really for them expanding. So if
Okay.
they welcome Ukraine into the NATO, that's probably definitely going to, turn up the heat a little bit. And
Right.
Putin's not going to be too happy about that. Me personally, as things stands now, I don't think that, I mean, I get it. Like they kind of have been, digressing from all the progress they made back in the early 90s,
Hmm.
but I just don't think at this moment in time, Russia, I mean, if Russia does invade, they're going to be in this alone. I don't think China's really going to be getting too involved with them for the simple fact that China has a lot of economic deals with the West. They're trying to make money. So
Yeah.
that might mess up their cash flow if they get involved with Russia. And quite frankly, I don't think the U.S. or the Western European powers are going to get too involved. They might give some, they might, amp up the arms deals, or they may, give them some sort of support. But I don't think they're going to get actually involved. They didn't get involved in 2014, and Putin also may want to be a little skeptical about how he moves because Biden's talking about a lot of international sanctions, and these sanctions could hurt Russia's pockets and also hurt Putin's ambitions in like the technological field that he's trying to, build up in. But we don't know, man. We gonna see.
What I seen, you saying the U.S. is not going to get involved if it happens. Biden's saying different.
What is Biden saying?
Biden said that, okay, so Biden's first statement was, pretty much, I'm going to paraphrase, that we're going to get involved if the damages to Ukraine are severe enough. And then the president of Ukraine came back and said, in so many words, you guys are going to get involved regardless.
That's not good enough. Yeah, I actually read that somewhere.
Yeah.
Point, man. They might.
Yeah. And then wait, and then Joe Biden came back and said he doubled down and was like, well, he walked it back and then doubled down. He said, yeah, we're going to get involved regardless. Like, if Russia invades Ukraine, it's going to be severe consequences. That's what he said. Severe consequences.
Okay.
No, like from the from the U.S. to Russia.
US,
yeah, it's gonna be severe consequences.
Okay. All right, you think they're gonna do boots on the ground? Like what do you
think? Man. I think if Russia decides to invade, man, it's gonna be a deployment.
You might be headed over there, huh?
Who knows? Oh no, who knows?
We're gonna see.
All this is public knowledge. You can
most definitely public. This is all
Google this.
You get all this on the news, man. We don't have any kind of inside scoop.
Nothing. No.
We're basically doing all our own research, DYOR, and we just follow the news closely.
Man, this is crazy. Like all of this political stuff, and this, this country wants to invade this country, but they were once one country, and then we have to get involved because we're somehow not indebted, but like we have some type of agreement with like another country.
Right.
But this conflict really ain't got nothing to do with us.
Well, I mean, it's almost like hood politics, man. Your boy is getting involved with something, you gonna ride or not, So it's the same game, it's a different level,
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like they're pulling the strings from, high up, and then the actual foot soldiers and these units, and they just get the order, they just go.
Right.
Some go. It's crazy, bro. A lot of soldiers and people who if this does pop off, they won't even know what they're fighting for. They'll just be like, "Oh, I'm going to Russia," or "I'm going to Ukraine." They won't even know what they're fighting for. They'll just be going.
They're fighting for America's interest. Like we have capability in the region. Because you got to think about it, man. Do you want a world where Russia and China are on top? I don't know. I don't think so.